I have nothing against Dan Campbell as a coach. Well, as a person.
But a human.
As a coach, like, I just feel like he's gonna go for it from his own 5, or do something so dumb because he's so fired up. And look, man, I've used this analogy for a long time, back when I was at Nesson and now with you on the BetQL Network. Mm-hmm. He's that guy. We've all had that friend that goes to the blackjack table and goes there with $500 and he's up 3,000 and you're like, let's go. Come on, let's leave. What is the point here? You came here with 500. Now you got 3,000. What is the point? You've 6 times your money. What is the goal? And then they leave with nothing. And you're like, that's Dan Campbell. That's Dan Campbell. He just doesn't know when to stop. And that we will see. It happened last year, and I think it's going to happen this year.
It's Homer Simpson at the blackjack table. 19, hit me. 20, hit me. 21, hit me.
No.
You know what I mean? Don't. Oh, man. It works. It has worked. We'll find out. See, I get what he's saying, though, overall. That they had that long winning streak, and now everybody's jumping ship because they lost to the Bills. And that's not what it is, but that's what he's going to say to his team. We did all this. We were in the game till the very end. Look how many points we scored. And because we lost this game to the Bills, now we've got to eat it, and everybody's against us. It's an us against the – that's what he's going to play up going into this weekend's game against the Bears. We know that's not the reality.
It's not real, though. It's not
that's
real.
Not the reality.
They're favored to win the Super Bowl.
Right.
It is not you against the world. You should get to a Super Bowl. You have the talent to get to a Super Bowl. The only thing that will keep you from a Super Bowl is you, period.
Yep. Well, I'll tell you, he's not going to win the Coach of the Year, and he's the second favorite. When he was the favorite, I was saying the wrong coach is favored, and they're 12-2. But the reason I say that is because they were supposed to win double-digit games this year. They were supposed to win the division, and we don't know if they're going to win the division, but I cross them out, man. Let me ask you this. As far as this award goes, Coach of the Year, the top 5 is Kevin O'Connell, Dan Campbell, Sean Payton, Dan Quinn, Mike Tomlin. Is there anybody else that we should be discussing? Reed, McDermott, LaFleur, McDonald, McVay, anybody else? Should they be in this conversation? Or with 3 weeks left, is the top 5 as far as we're willing to go?
On the surface, I think the top 5 is enough. I do.
Yeah.
You?
I'm not leaving that top 5. And I think I don't think we need to leave the top 3, really. So the favorite is O'Connell, plus 110. Dan Campbell, plus 300. I told you I'm not interested. Sean Payton, plus 550. Dan Quinn, plus 750. Tomlin, plus 1,400. So I don't expect Tomlin to win it. Now, 10-4 on the year. People were against him, but the win total higher than Minnesota, higher than Denver, higher than Washington. So I think because of that, he's not going to be able to win it. They're not going to win the division, and they might fade a little bit, especially with the lack of health they have on the team right now with some of their best players. So I'm saying Tomlin, the 5th favorite, is not going to win it, but there's a little bit of value at 14-1. It's going to be tough for the Commanders not winning the division. And there are teams that are exceeding expectations more than Dan Quinn. So I think it's going to be challenging for him. So with 3 games left, I believe it's down to O'Connell and Payton. How many are on your short list?
This is the hardest award for me to figure out. It really is. And it's one thing to sit here and say, oh, well, Kevin O'Connell is going to win it. Well, Kevin O'Connell was 4-1 a week ago when we had this conversation. And we said, I remember seeing the clip. They clipped it and posted it on social at BetQL Daily. And we said at the time, Kevin O'Connell has the blueprint. Take a bad team to a good team, potentially a great team. That's the blueprint. But now at plus 110, or plus, 105 or whatever, this
Yeah.
isn't the time to bet Kevin O'Connell. So, everything changes with the odds. And I wouldn't be betting Kevin O'Connell at plus 110. I honestly think now, what happens if Minnesota wins this game against Seattle, wins the next game, and then Detroit beats Minnesota week 18 to win the division? Then Dan Campbell might win it. And you can bet him now at, plus 340. So I don't think having O'Connell at 4-1 and Campbell at 340 is the worst idea. And then, if Sean Payton pulls it off, you're going to lose both. But I don't hate betting Campbell now, given everything we know about this award and your ability to climb back into the race. I mean, look, Detroit could win out. They lost, they lost to the best team in the AFC, maybe. Barely. They could beat the Bears, Niners, and Vikings. They're at home against Minnesota. Now you got Detroit against Darnold. Division on the line. Who do you like? Detroit's going to be favored in the game. So they're favored by 7 this week against Chicago. Call it 6.5 now. They're favored at San Francisco, and they're going to be favored on January 5th. If the Lions go 15-2 and clinch home field, he might be the coach of the year. But it's the price. Last week, Dan Campbell was plus 150. No. Now he's plus 340. Maybe. It's all price sensitive.
And all the injuries help Campbell's case. If they win the division with all of these players on injured reserve all season, he'll get some extra credit. And people want to give him this award anyways. So I mentioned that Sean Payton's still in this. Now, O'Connell has 3 more wins than Payton. That's a wide gap. O'Connell's in the best division in football, the NFC North. But Sean Payton is making not a bigger jump, but the win total was lower. And he's doing it with a rookie quarterback. See, that's what both coaches are doing here. And that's why I think it's going to come down to him. Goff is sort of mentioned as a possible MVP contender from time to time. But O'Connell's doing it with Darnold. Career over, right? He comes and saves him. And then you've got the Payton thing, handpicked quarterback, not one of the top few drafted quarterbacks. And the win total is 5.5, and they're 9-5. What if they win out? Chargers, Bengals, Chiefs. That Chiefs game could be without Mahomes if they have the 1 seed locked up. There's no way Mahomes plays that game. It could be Sean Payton going 12-5 with a rookie quarterback. So he's plus 550. That's going to have a strong case.
I still look at Minnesota last year, 7-10. You picked a quarterback in the first round. He gets hurt.
Wow.
You find a way to salvage the season with a guy off the scrap heap, Sam Darnold, who didn't work in New York, Carolina, or San Francisco, and you and him work together and double your wins from last year. I don't know what I'm missing there. I'm not saying bet it at plus 110, but that's, to me, if I had a vote, and I don't vote for this award, I would give it to Kevin O'Connell because of last season's misery, going 7-10, having your quarterback of the future get hurt before the season started, and then you bring in Sam Darnold to potentially go 14-3. That, to me, is the coach of the year. But that's just me. I don't know how the voters feel.
Do you remember in the preseason, the first team representative that we had that came on and said under? I know you did some of them. So before the year leading up to the season, we'd have a guest on from every team in the NFL. And you know how it is. You know how it is. Over. The vibes are high. It's before you actually play a game, before you see an injury. Over. And I was laughing at how many overs it was going to be. The first under we finally got was Paul Charchian on the Vikings. Even in Minnesota, they were saying it was going to be a bad year. They were setting themselves up to be the worst team in the NFC North. And they're sitting here 12-2. 12-2. Now people are like, do you franchise Sam Darnold? I don't know if J.J. McCarthy's going to be ready. I'm watching the pregame yesterday. They're having a real conversation. Do we pay Sam Darnold $40 million for 1 year? Like, that's what people are talking about now. That's how shocking this has been.
they get a huge boost from their defense. And you know what else makes Kevin O'Connell a good coach or a great coach? He stays the hell out of the way on defense.
Yes.
He delegates.
Yeah, for sure.
Brian Flores, you run the defense. And the way that they develop these guys, the Josh Metellises of the world, Dallas Turner looks unbelievable as a rookie out of Alabama. They draft good players and develop them. What a novel idea. Let's take these guys that played well in college and let's draft them. It's a novel concept. A lot of teams don't do it. They draft potential. No, we're going to draft guys that actually performed, and we're going to develop them. Josh Metellus is all over the field. Dallas Turner's laying hits like crazy. They develop their guys on defense. It's a very, very good organization right now with O'Connell and with Brian Flores.
Other awards, it was a big-time missed opportunity for Bo Nix. They win, awful performance. He's down to plus 750. Daniels was nothing special. They won and they hung on against New Orleans, and now I see a price as high as minus 1,500 for the offensive rookie of the year. I still think Nix can take that, but the bad game on Sunday really hurt him. And the other award, in addition to Coach of the Year that's open right now, is Defensive Player. Watt is minus 160. And so now you've got the injury, and you're thinking, okay, that's open. But the problem is, who do you give it to? Second and third favorite, you got 2 Denver Broncos. Fourth and fifth favorite, you got a couple of Texans. Then you put Xavier McKinney because he's tied for the league lead in interceptions of the Packers. I mean, there's value with everybody but Watt, but it's been the same conversation all year, Sam. I don't know who's going to get it. I don't know who's going to take it. Watt leads the league with TFLs. He's one back as far as sack leaders. So now I think he checks enough boxes where if he just plays a little bit, I expect Watt to still win it at minus 160.
I do too. This is one of those markets where the price tells you a lot, and they start jacking everybody else up a little bit. Myles Garrett in the 20 range, Will Anderson in the 22 range. They want you to bet those guys because they are taking a stance that Watt's going to win no matter what. And it sort of feels that way. It does.
And for you, OPOY, not a lot of movement lately, but Saquon's still the favorite. It's $4. How do you feel about that? I mean, Henry hasn't had a monster game. Not getting a lot of chatter lately.
You see who's online too?
Oh, Chase.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I have it cornered
good.
between Chase and Barkley.
Some would say you have the market cornered.